Alright, guys, let's get this show started. So, we've been playing loads and loads and loads of Nioh, a lot more than Dark Souls 3. And unfortunately, we've heard a lot of complaints online where people are saying, the stamina system is broken, the game balance is crap, I'm not able to play the game. Well, I thought of making a video which will allow you to understand Neo's combat mechanics, and it'll definitely give you a boost in the game, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tackle the game after going through these combat mechanics. So this is going to be a quick video. I don't expect it to be more than 10 to 15 minutes long. There's no format to this as such, as in that's not scripted or something. I'm just going along, but I have jotted down certain things that I want to talk about. And let's start off with a fun fact. If you go to the system option, this guy will pop up, and once they snigger at each other, you'll go boom, 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 boom. One of them will fall down, and then so that's pretty cute, and that's a great addition to, well, something as simple as the start menu. Let's get started with our Nioh combat mechanics, and we'll walk through almost each and every aspect of the combat that you can play around with, at least for the initial part of the game, and definitely for this demo, something which will help you greatly. Now, we won't go into the specifics, as in we won't go into the equipment and the different types of armor that you can put on and the different types of weapon that you've got, but this is more or less a generic combat mechanics video which will help you go through all the combat mechanics available as of now in the demo, and I'm sure there'll be loads more that they will add. Let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started. First things first, stamina or ki. Now, believe it or not, stamina or ki is perhaps the most important thing that you need to understand before really progressing with the game. Any action that you do in the game, except walking, leads to your stamina being sapped away. If you want to dodge an enemy, well, you'll need to deal with the temporary loss of ki, like so. Take a look at the stamina bar. It's going down and going down and going down. If you want to block attacks from your enemies, even blocking will lead to your stamina going down. There you go. And, well, you effectively need to watch your ki, as it plays an important role in your survival, and it is vital to understand a few things about it before really jumping in to play Nioh. Now, I'll be using this guy as my dummy for fighting, and a couple of the guys from the outside, that big guy walking around over there, maybe one or two more enemies from there. But let's take a look at all the different mechanics that impact your stamina, how can we get back the stamina, and a cool way in which you can cheat your stamina replenishment mechanisms. So things that reduce your ki. Sprinting brings down your ki. I'm running around and it's going down and down and down. Blocking an attack, as we saw, reduces your ki. Rolling or dodging reduces your ki, and obviously attacking. Now, it doesn't matter whether you get a hit in or not. If you attack, that's some stamina loss. In short, almost everything that you do in the game, other than regular actions and other than walking around normally, leads to your ki going down. How to get back the ki? Well, I guess that's the important question. The simplest way to get back your ki is wait. Don't do anything, just stand around and you'll be good. Or, well, just walk around and you'll be good. even if you lose your key and you're just walking around, your stamina will regenerate. It will fill up over time, and well, that's the most common way in which you can get back your key. But there is another mechanic that you can use to get back your key, and that's really what I want to show you. The mechanic that you can use to get back your key is known as a key pulse. And even though every action almost takes away some of your key, waiting a couple of seconds leads to your key getting replenished, but the rate at which it replenishes changes depending on the amount of equipment that you've got on you. Now, this does not mean that it changes with the amount of stuff that you're carrying, but the equipped load is what I would consider as equipment. The equipped load includes all the armor stuff that you've got. So anything where you see the equipment weight in the top right hand corner of these two screens is part of your equipped load. And that includes the two accessories that you've got access to in the demo. Everything else does not count as your equipment load. So thankfully, no matter which weapon you wield, and I should not have gone there, no matter which weapon you wield, it does not impact your equipped weight, but the armor definitely impacts your equipped weight. Now, I'm not sure about what the exact limits are, but I'm assuming that less than 50% you regenerate the maximum amount of stamina if you're just standing around or walking around. Greater than 50%, you regenerate a little less or a little slower than the less than 50%. And if you're greater than 70%, the stamina regeneration rate is extremely low. So let's test that out. I'm at 61% right now. Let's get rid of everything I'm wearing. Alright, I'm at 49.5% now, and it's still green. I need it to turn blue. I wonder if it turns blue. There you go. Well, the limit is a lot lower than what I expected it to be. So let's get out of here. I just got poisoned by that guy. Now, I've got lower stamina now simply because I think I had some equipment which gave me higher stamina. But look at that, that's pretty quick. That's quite quick as far as the regeneration goes. So, heal up. Let's get this guy. Now we talk about these combat mechanics over time, but right now I need to get rid of this guy. Ah, come on. Okay, cool. So, stamina regeneration rate, well, decent enough. So let's equip some armor. Okay, I'm in the green zone now, so I assume the blue zone is less than 30% or less than 25%. I'm not sure which one that would be. Earth, let's equip something. Alright, 50%, greater than 50%. So that we're in the green zone, and now we take a look at how quickly does our stamina regenerate. Well, a bit slower. Well, not a bit slower, relatively quite slower than when we had barely any armor on. Last, but definitely not the least, we'll go ahead and go crazy with our equipped stuff. So what's the heaviest thing that I've got? I want to try and go all the way to near 100%, or well, anything greater than 70% will do, I guess. Cool. We're at 98.4%. Look at us. We're moving like a snail, and I get rid of a lot of my stamina, and that slows down like crazy. Key thing over here is don't carry too much armor. Well, carry as much as armor as you want to. Just don't equip too much armor, because unless you plan on like being a tank or something like that, which I don't think would be a very good idea in this particular game, it's recommended that you lower your equipped weight as much as is possible, and that will lead to your key replenishing faster. Now the limits appear to be less than 30% or less than 25%, less than 70%, and well, anything greater than 70% is just pretty useless, because you're like barely replenishing key. It's extremely slow. Alright, another way in which we can replenish ki, and I'm getting rid of some of the equipment that I've got. Alright, cool. Yep. So, another way in which you can replenish ki is through a ki pulse. Now, this is something which I figured out quite late into the game. So, let's assume you whacked an enemy and your ki is gone down. Normally, what would you do? You would wait and wait and wait and like, oh no, that guy is attacking me. No. Well, not such a good idea to keep it that way. What you can do is that. Doesn't that look awesome? Look at the ki. Woo! It just zooms up, and whatever I had lost, well, not whatever I had lost, but a major portion of what I had lost gets recovered. So while you're hitting, you'll see that there's this bar that kind of goes through your depleted ki. It's a blue colored bar in the top left. And when I do an R1, once the blue bar completely fills my depleted ki, I do a ki pulse. And that leads to me getting all my ki back, well, a majority of the ki that I had lost back. Now, I don't need to time it exactly. I can just do it midway and some of the ki will still get replenished. But, well, you can do a proper ki pulse, and that has some other advantages as well. There we go. So that's the ki pulse. Now we're talking about the ki pulse, and unfortunately we cannot talk about the ki pulse without talking about the stances. So what are the stances? Well, the stances, there are three stances: low, medium and high, and you can see them in the bottom right corner. I'm in medium stance right now, that's the one which is highlighted. If I press R1 along with the triangle button, I go into high stance, the way in which you hold your weapon changes, and R1 with X puts you into low stance, and once again the way in which you hold your weapon changes. No matter which weapon it is, it changes. Now we'll talk about the stances a bit later, but how does your stance affect your stamina replenishment? Remember when I told you that if you've got your stamina down and oh, by the way, important thing, rolling doesn't allow you to do the ki pulse thing. So keep that in mind. Rolling doesn't allow you to do a ki pulse. But if you're attacking, then you can do the ki pulse to get back some of your ki. Now let's say you're attacking your enemy and your ki has gone down quite a lot. You would normally press R1 to get back the ki. So you're hitting, R1. Unfortunately, the enemies themselves are quite quick. Pressing R1 might lead to you getting hit once or twice, and that's never a good thing, is it? I mean, that's what we're trying to avoid in this particular combat mechanics video. Suggestion: move over to low stance. So that's me in medium stance, that's the default. That's high stance, and this is low stance. I press R1 with X. The bottom right hand corner, the icons over there show you which stance you're in. This is me sheathing the weapon, and if I hit, he unsheaths the weapon and I'm in low stance. Now, hit, 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 dodge, and replenish your ki. Isn't that cool? Isn't that absolutely cool? Hit, 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 dodge. Your ki gets replenished. Now this only happens in low stance. The R1 works as well. Even that will replenish your ki. But hey, why do you want to do that when you've got the option of dodging away from an enemy who might be going crazy on you? So hit, 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 dodge. And you've got your ki pulse there. Keep in mind, this just works with low stance. And it's usually better to dodge once you've got batshit crazy on your enemies and spam them with these attacks, because I'm pretty sure they'll be pissed. Okay, what happens when ki finishes? Well, let's take a look. You'll see a red flashing bar up top. There you go, your entire stamina bar goes all red. Now, if your stamina bar is all red, it's okay. It's not a problem. You can still move around. But while it is red, if you perform any action that requires ki, let's see what happens. And this is by far the worst thing. There you go. The guy kind of, he kind of loses all hope and starts panting. Like, I can't do anything. I'm screwed. So, not a good idea to let this happen. You're definitely going to, well, either die or lose shitloads of health as a result of this cooldown time where he just kind of waits and waits and waits for his breath to get back. During this time, you're extremely vulnerable, and if any enemies are nearby, you're also extremely dead. Don't ever, 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 ever deplete your ki completely. Manage the ki in such a way that you can get at least 1 or 2 dodges without depleting your ki. Otherwise, believe me, you're in deep shit. Believe me, you're in deep shit. Alright, moving on from ki management to ki replenishment to ensuring that you don't fuck up your ki, to the stances. So the stances affect the way in which your weapon plays. I'm in low stance right now. I pressed R1 with X, and I'm doing kind of these quick jabs and booms and slashes and letting my ki go down all the way, which is never a good idea. So it's quite quick, and it doesn't take as much stamina as the others. Now, another thing, I can get virtually unlimited combos with the low stance, but more on that later. The medium stance is a lot more controlled. You can get a maximum of 4 combos and then he moves back to his original position. But with the low stance, you can get unlimited combos. The high stance is one which takes away loads of stamina when compared to low stance and medium stance. Remember, low stance takes away the least amount of stamina, medium stance a bit more, high stance the most. But what's the difference between them? While in low stance, you do the least amount of damage. It's extremely good if you want to do some quick attacks and intended to be used mainly with, you got it, dodges. Why? Well, you can replenish your ki with a dodge. You can spam light and heavy attacks and dodge away quickly, and you can also have the added advantage of getting a ki pulse in. It does take the least amount of stamina per attack. Alright folks, moving on to medium stance. It's slower than the low stance, but it does a lot more damage. You cannot spam attacks, and I'm in medium stance right now, and you cannot spam attacks because that's just a 4 combo thing. So you need to watch your stamina, because the amount of ki that you can get back from the ki pulse will be limited by these 4 attacks. And if you start the next combo, then you can't get the previous lost stamina back unless you wait for some time or something. So it's slower than low stance, but it does way more damage. And usually you've got about 4, maybe 3 hits per combo. It takes more stamina than the low stance and should ideally be used with the block or parry functionality. Now later on, you'll get a perk which allows you to deal massive damage to your enemy's ki if you time the block correctly, pushing them back. Now obviously this applies to enemies that have ki. I don't really think this works on monsters because I'm not really sure whether they have ki or not. But let's get this guy and let's time our blocks. There you go. Alright, let's do this again. Let him get his breath back, and let's do this again. There you go. That again got him. There you go. Another one. And you can really take advantage of this. You can, I mean, I'm not hitting him when he's tired, but you can really take advantage of this timed block. And I think this is a great skill to have. The last stance that we've got is the high stance, which is something like this. So low is this, medium, high. Now the high stance takes up the maximum amount of stamina when it comes to your attacks, and it has the least amount of combos, the least number of combos that you can chain together. But the damage output on this baby is awesome. Let's do a comparison of the damage between medium stance. Come on. Bloody hell. This is a problem I've got with this game. The enemies just can't manage to see you unless you're like literally sitting on top of them. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. Alright, so this guy. Medium stance takes up 35 damage, or what was that? 240 something with 19, because this is a lightning imbibe one. So 240 something with 19. Let's try that again. Yep, 240 something with 19. And let's move to high stance. Whoa, 360 something with 30. So that's awesome. Let's get this guy. Let's try the low stance as well. Hey. Yoo-hoo. Okay, so low stance. Ah well, good block, my friend. Come on. Come on. 50 something and 6. That sucked. Hey, that's not fair. I'm trying to do a video here. Alright, medium stance. Ah well, I've got the wrong weapon. 190 something and 19. Brilliant. No way. That's not very nice. That's not very nice at all. Hello. Alright. So, high stance. Massive. 314 and 30. So, let me kill these guys and then we'll talk once again. Alright. So, we've got those guys. Now something else that we wanted to talk about as far as the stances go. Your stances actually impact ki regeneration as well. If you are in low or in high stance, so that's this or this, low or high stance, then blocking by pressing L1 while moving around will not lead to any key regeneration. So let's test that out. Let's aggro this guy, and we're in high stance. Let's go to low stance, block. Notice, look at my key. It's stuck at 94 and it's just not moving. Now it won't move until I stop moving. There you go. So it starts creeping up slowly if I stop moving around, or until I change my stance. So I just moved over to low stance, and there you go. Alright, 104. Let's get our let's get it down a bit more. Come on, don't miss me. Huh. Okay, it's down to 55 now, and I'll just change my stance. There you go. I changed my stance and a bit of ki came back. And if I change my stance again, a bit more. And I change it again, a bit more. Alright, so let's do this once again. Hit me baby, one more time. I can't stand still. Alright, so come on. Well, you're horrible with this. You should change your profession, my friend. You should definitely change your profession. Okay, we're down to 67 now. What I just did was I switched over from high to low while moving around, and a bit of ki got replenished. I'll move over from low to high, and once again a bit more gets replenished. It appears as if the first time when you do this, loads of ki is replenished, but subsequent changes don't lead to that much ki getting replenished. And yep, subsequent changes don't lead to too much ki getting replenished, so keep that in mind. In short, moving around while in low or high stance does not replenish your ki. If you stand still, then yes, it does get replenished. If you change stances, then it does get replenished. And this is where the medium stance wins when it comes to blocking. Look at this. I'm blocking and I'm moving around, and my ki is getting replenished without any issues. I'm moving around, ki replenished. So it appears as if the blocking stance has been, well, the medium stance has been specifically made for blocking. So that's something you can use. Alright, let's move on to critical attacks. This guy is pissing me off now, so I want to do some insane damage on him. In general, any attack, no matter which stance you're in, does more damage from behind. So I'll move into low stance and I'll hit him once. This does 92 and 6. Not much, but well, whatever. I'm now trying to move behind him. This does 131 and 9 from behind. So that's an immediate increase of about 40 points as far as hit points go. An enemy, well, humanoid enemies at least, also have ki. And you can see his ki bar going down whenever he tries to hit me or runs around or something. So let's do the skill thing. Let's try and stagger him. Oh well. There you go. So that staggered him, but it didn't get rid of his ki completely. Now when his stamina bar flashes red like it just did, that's when he is potentially staggerable. That's the best way I can put it. He needs to do something, some action which will lead to his stamina going down further. Now they won't do it on their own. The best way in which I have found that we can do this, or we can initiate this, is hit them once and then go near them, press the heavy action, and you do that awesome critical attack. So you can just go near them and do the heavy attack, and that should do a critical. But what I normally do is I hit them once when their red stamina bar is active, and then once I hit them, I press the heavy button. That leads to them going down like a sack of potatoes. Alright, the last thing that we need to talk about, guys, well, a couple of things actually. You can block any attack, as we just saw, and unfortunately, you can also block attacks which are well, you're not even ready to block them. I'm facing away from that guy and have blocked all his attacks. It's like my character turned 180 degrees. Now I've given feedback to Team Ninja, and I hope they implement it and they fix this, but it's weird that I can block an attack even though I don't intend to, just by holding the blocking button. But there are certain unblockable attacks. Case in point, what you're just seeing. That's just one of them. There are more attacks which are unblockable, and I'm sure there'll be more enemies who will have unblockable attacks. So this is going to be the wham wham with a stone, which is an unblockable attack. There's a poison attack that this guy does as well, which is this one, which is also unblockable. So the only way to get out of that is to dodge it, really. Now, that's where we get into dodging and rolling. Let me kill this guy first, or let him kill me, whatever the case may be. And then we'll talk about dodging or rolling. You can dodge if your weapon is sheathed. So my weapon is sheathed right now, and I can dodge. This is the dodge. So this looks a lot like the Bloodborne dodge, if you know what I'm saying. Or if you're in low or medium stance. So I'll go into medium stance, I'll get my weapon out. There you go, dodge, 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 dodge. I'm pressing the X button while moving around. Low stance, dodge, dodge, dodge. The moment you go into high stance, boom, it changes to a roll. Now when you're in medium stance, you can roll as well. Double X. So you do a dodge and a roll. Dodge and a roll. I'm not sure what the use of that would be, but well, it's there. The equipment you have affects your rolling or dodging speed massively. And when I say massively, I mean massively. Let me get rid of a lot of the stuff. So I'm at 15% now. And obviously I'm uber light. Look at that. I am definitely dodging a lot faster and dodging / rolling a lot further. Right, so rolling is pretty quick. There's no fatty roll happening over here. Now let's go ahead and equip loads of stuff. So I just equipped some stuff right now. I'm in the green equipment area, and immediately you can see there's a difference. The dodges are a bit slower. I'm not dodging as fast or as far away as I was before, and if I unsheath my weapon, the rolls are a bit more clumsy. Not entirely a fatty roll, but definitely a lot more clumsier. And now we go crazy. There you go, 99.6 equipment. You look badass, by the way. That is badass. But look at the state of your dodges. Haha, that's your roll. So the roll is, it's just like you're rolling around in the same place without doing anything. And as far as dodges go, you're barely moving. It's just like an animation that happens and you barely move anywhere. So you need to be very, very careful about how much equipment you've got. You know, the sweet spot is greater than 25%, less than 70%, but really I couldn't really distinguish between anything, something like Maybe if you're less than 50%, then it's a bit better. If you're slightly higher than 50%, it's a lot better or something. But I think anything less than 70% is good. Anything greater than 70% ain't too good. If you're less than 25%, you've definitely got very, very low armor. So watch out. If you get hit, you might lose a shitload of health. However, you will be extremely quick. Your stamina regeneration will be extremely fast. As a final thing, there is a living weapon that you can use. Unfortunately, my living weapon bar isn't full. That's the one on the top left hand corner where you've got the wolf right next to the stamina and the health bar. That's like 3/4 of the way through. The moment that becomes full, you can press the circle and the triangle key together. All bets are off then. Your stamina bar, your health bar, almost everything becomes one, and you get this like awesome flaming weapon that you can hit people with. And it fizzles out quite quickly, but if you hit them long enough, in all probability they'll die, and the moment they die, they add to the timer of your living weapon attack. It's called the living weapon. I call it the living weapon attack. So killing people recharges the living weapon meter. I don't know if that's what they actually call it. I'm just making it up as I go along. So guys, that's about it. Hopefully this will allow you to beat Nioh. You've still got a couple of days. The demo is on till the 5th. So you've got a couple of days. Key points to remember: manage your stamina or ki. Be aware of what are the 3 stances, what do they do, and how do they impact your gameplay. Critical attacks are vital. Watch your enemies when their stamina bar is flashing red. Hit them, do a heavy attack next to them, you get a critical in. Blocking can be very helpful if you prefer blocking. I personally don't like blocking much, although I do use it sometimes. And dodging or rolling, you have to use one of them. Either you block or you dodge or roll. But whichever you use is impacted by the stamina you've got. Both of them take stamina, blocking as well as dodging or rolling. And dodging or rolling is affected by your equipped armor or your equipped weight as well. As far as attacks go, make sure you try and hit enemies from behind. It generally does a lot more damage. Or play in high stance mode and be ready to manage your stamina like crazy in high stance mode. I hope this was helpful. I hope this helps people with getting into Nioh. It took me some time to get into Nioh. I am a Dark Souls fan and I've played every single Soulsborne game. I tried to play Nioh exactly like I played a Dark Souls game and I got my ass handed to me. I'm sure many Dark Souls veterans have got their asses handed to them by Nioh. Play it like a game that is not Dark Souls, and believe me, you will be fine. Adapt to the mechanics of the game. Play it like a game that is a fresh one and you don't know about the stamina meter going down and getting replenished and things like that. You know, things which are very, 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 very iconic of the Dark Souls series. So play it on its own merit and believe me, you will be fine. If you try to play this like a Souls game, you will get screwed. The tagline of the game is ready to die. Hopefully after this video, you will be ready to live. Take care, bye bye, and thanks a lot for watching.